Hi, fantasy book lovers, TGIF. This is Thank Gods It's Fantasy Podcast. We are Kayla, Veronica, and Bryanna, three best friends who love talking about all things books, from the romance, the conflict, and of course, morally gray men. Every 2 weeks, we will be getting together to talk about our theories, opinions, and reviews of our current read. Please read along, join in, and be one of our book besties too. In this episode, we will be discussing When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Just the first half, though. We did not read the whole thing. Before we start, we would like to announce a disclaimer. As we discuss might be suitable for more mature audiences. We are all adults here, so if explicit language or content is not for you, then turn back while you still can. So first things first, which mind you, the first so many pages is truly just a bulk of glossary, pronunciation, maps, pictures, the whole nine. How did you guys feel going into that? Sometimes I think it can be overwhelming, but Kayla, I know it excited you. I feel like you love a bulk guide at the beginning.
I mean, I love a reference point for sure. I love having a spot that I can go back to whenever I want to. And you know that the world building's gonna be good, right? Because if you gotta have a glossary for it and a pronunciation guide and all that, then you know it's gonna be good. But also kind of nerve-wracking because
I know, a
Sarah
whole
J. Maas
universe.
world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a minute for me. So going into a new world where I don't automatically know the lay of the land, who the people are, what the magic is, what the system is, all of that, it's a lot for me to
absorb. I didn't even look at it because remember, I'm the type of person who's like, if I say it wrong, I say it wrong. It's not going to stop me. I did like all the pretty pictures, though.
The map was just beautiful. Again, still, I think overwhelmed by that personally, but it looks so nice. I love an aesthetically pleasing map. Love. I'd say kind of ignored the pronunciation guide. I really just let my brain form whatever pronunciation it does initially and then come later maybe if I'm like, wow, I really have no idea. But I kind of ignored a lot of that first part too. I was like, if I have questions later, maybe I'll look at it. If not, oh well.
I have literally used that as a reference point this entire time. I think I go 10 pages and I'm like, back to the pronunciation guide, because I'm the opposite of V. If it doesn't roll off my brain when I'm reading it, I know exactly what it is, I'm stunted. I have a stroke. I sit there and I read it over and over again, and then I can't go on until I know.
And I did not. We just powered through. You really struggled because I know I waited a long time to read it too. And I did plow through it once I finally started it, but you really got stuck in the first 10% of the book where you're just it's a lot. And I was just like, really? What do you mean it's a lot?
Yep. 100%. It's because of, honestly, for that soul fact is it was every word at that point because it's all new things to me. And so, and you know how fantasy is, they just make up these random names and the cities, and I don't know where they're at, and I can't picture it in my head. If I can't picture it in my head, then I just struggle. So it took me a hot minute to get through the beginning when they're like, here are the gods, and here is this person, and here's the city. I'm like, well, where is the city? Map, where is it on the city? Or on the map.
Yeah. Well, the writing style is so different from Sarah J. Maas too. So I think that was probably another barrier for you.
Yeah.
Where I just read it and I'm like, meh.
Yeah, because
this is great. I love all the descriptions.
Yeah, it's descriptive but in a different way than her. Hers is very simplistic descriptions. This was more artistic descriptions that were beautiful. I really
love it.
like it a
Oh
lot.
yeah. No, Bree and I both were like, this is like reading
Mhm.
a poem,
Yeah.
and it is beautiful. Like the first annotation I made, I'm like,
I was so
like
sucked in from the
poetry.
get-go of how she was describing the world and the gods and everything. I was just like,
Mhm.
oh, I love how she's describing everything. It felt so poetic, so artistic. It was such a different writing style than we've been reading recently. And I was just like, I was so enthralled from the get-go. I mean, clearly 0 to 56% in 2 days. So, but I was so enthralled, like from the get-go. Clearly, pronunciation and maps are not my hang-up. So I just create what may in my head for that. But yeah, I really enjoyed her writing style a lot from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah. She has so many quotes in here that are just beautiful, that it's less so of those ones that you get, you know, with like Sarah J. Maas, where like you get those once in a while big ones that everybody knows and everybody remembers. There were so many in here that I was highlighting because I was like, God, she just said that so eloquently. So it's so beautifully written. Felt like I was almost annotating everything. Like at one point I was like, I gotta stop. It's like all
You're like,
colored
she just
now.
writes so beautifully.
It was. I mean, the way she describes things.
Whole unfolding of how this world was created, all the different gods coming into play, all of that. We get into meeting our main female character, Raeve. What did you think about her from the get-go? I mean, it's kind of, I feel like, stayed fairly similar throughout. She's been pretty consistent. But what did you guys think about her?
I thought she was very mysterious in the beginning, just because I was like, who is she? What is she trying to do? Why is she trying to get into this place? And just the way she was talking about herself in the beginning, she's like, I am this person today. I'm not Raeve. Like, I have to make sure because this could potentially kill me. So just that part already, like my first thought was very mysterious.
I love a stabby main female character, and she gave stabby vibes right off the beginning, like right off the bat. It's like, yep. She gave, you know, one of my other favorite characters that V's gonna get to meet here soon in another series. She gave me vibes of just like assassin, mysterious, badass, super sarcastic, which I love, all of the above. I just can't do a weak main female character. It really kind of irks me, so I love when we come off on like, oh yeah, she's gonna be a badass, and we can expect that.
Yes,
going forward.
I agree. So fun about seeing a badass female lead who just like takes no shit. Because, you know, again, this is a common theme. In general, I feel like people underestimate women. To have someone who just takes advantage of that and is like, yes, I'm a meek woman and my veil and I'm nobody. Actually, let me stab you in this alley and you're gonna die, and it's gonna be very gruesome. I was not anticipating the level of stabby she was gonna be, the level of torture she would almost thrive off of. I was not prepared for that, but also kind of respected it for what it was. But I was like, oh, she real stabby. she loves murder a little. She loves revenge.
But also,
I mean, that was like, I feel like her whole thing was revenge, right? Because she's part of the, I'm going to butcher this, Fior de A. I don't know. Which is from the Ashes, and she's an assassin there. But yeah, she's just very vengeful, and I don't know, she doesn't remember her past or anything like that. But yeah, she's angry. She's angry, and she hates men that just do nasty things. And I love how she just gets her revenge out on them, whether it hurts them or her or not. If it hurts like all the other people.
well, and she's so confident the entire time. Like, these are big men. A lot of them are that she talks about, and there's never a second of doubt in her mind that she's gonna take them down. It's a when, not if. 100% the entire time, and I love that. I love the confidence, and I love that she has the skills to back it up.
fast forward, we meet some other people. We get into some other people. One of my favorites, I'm blanking on her name. Okay, Serene. Very much the whole vibe got going on there.
That's all I could picture.
Mhm.
And they kept talking like
Purple and then
right?
Venom
Purple's
and
her
all
color.
these things. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
are we back somewhere else? Have I read this before or what?
Yep.
Love that whole dynamic, but then it was just so peel back another layer of Raeve in that, like, she also gives to the poor. Like, she's truly not doing it to, it's not about that for her. It's truly bettering the world. And I love with how vengeful she is that really she has this very altruistic like background for it. It's like, I want to help those who can't help. I want to help the poor. I want to help those that are null. Like, I loved that. So that's just a good main point for me always.
Yes. Well, and the fact that her first mission, like the whole point of it was to free all those children, the elemental children that are being shipped off basically to be soldiers. Like the fact that everyone is conscripted, essentially. I don't know at what age that happens at, or if it's just when you start
like
hearing the songs. But the fact that they take them all to a tent and then stick their little beads in their ears or clip their ear, like that is just
it's
wild to me. And it's everybody. It doesn't sound like anyone gets out of it. I mean, maybe we'll learn eventually that wealthy people get out of it. I don't know. It doesn't really seem like it because everyone has their beads.
Well, and her fight club or her assassin's club that she's a part of, their main focus is to help the elementals.
Correct.
But her main focus is to help the nulls. She wants to help the more weak ones. So I don't remember. I want to say that her first assignment that she funded, that she was like spearheading, was to save those nulls that were there. So she wanted to save all those kids, and she had like a big operation, and they charged her bank account to pay for them, to pay for this.
But were they all nulls? I thought that they were. I thought it was just a mix of both, just all the children that had been taken from their family and like.
I think it was primarily nulls, which is why, because they really, unless it was solely elementals, like as their main, like they were not so helpful in that, which is interesting. Like that was their main point, and that hers is obviously a little different. Yeah, found it very interesting. They made her pay for it, and that she really was so surprised by how much money she had at times. Like, so cracked me up when they were like, "Oh yeah, you have this much." And she was like, "Oh damn, I've killed some people. I've accumulated some money." I know, and she's just like so blissfully aware of how much money she actually gets for each one of these kills. Like, she's just like, must get rid of the scum of the earth regardless of the money. So
yeah, but she's important to them.
Very
important to them.
Oh, Raeve?
Very talented.
Yes.
So good, they didn't want to risk her being found by the Crown's assassin.
Oh, yeah. Him.
Right? What's his name?
Tariq.
No, Tariq Relican was the guy at the bar that she was hunting down. Like, he was the one who was taking those null children, I thought.
Into, isn't it? That's her first one. It's
Is it with a Z?
Rek Zaros.
Yes.
Rek Zaros.
That's the name we're looking for.
But yeah, so good at what she does, for sure.
That whole murder mission situation, I know that like played into obviously also releasing the children. But yeah, that whole thing was wild too. And her mystery follower during that whole scheme as well, when she's in the Hungry Hollow. I know. I was like, as soon as it was a mystery man who smelled good, I was like, that's who man. I don't need any other.
Yeah. And he has
He was
entered the
Don't know
chat.
this man, but we gonna like him. I feel it already. I feel like this is her man.
Yep.
She don't know it yet, but she kind of does because he smells tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love this.
Okay, but since we obviously know where this goes, halfway, put yourself in his shoes, walking down those stairs and seeing her.
I mean, like,
well, he didn't, like, he just saw this much because she had the veil over her face, so he also smelled her,
made a
right?
point about, like, so, like, he knew just purely from her eyes, he was like, hello?
Yeah. And then he went and listened to her sing.
Oh,
and I'm sure that's going to come into play because that song obviously is significant.
Humming her calming song. I'm always like,
to her.
What is it? There's something to this for sure.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much, so much mystery surrounding her. So many levels.
Yes.
But I'm just picturing him, like, walking down thinking that the love of his life is dead and just bumping into her in the city.
Yeah. Because it probably, I've seen a ghost. It's someone who looks like her. It can't be her, obviously. And so for them to have that moment, and I think even how she bonds in that moment, because she's supposed to be this meek woman and she cannot actually maintain, because she grabs his arm or whatever before he can grab her veil. That's what it was. And so I'm sure even the way she responded, he was like, it's gotta be her. It's gotta be. Like, she would respond the same way. Like, truly, even though she has no recollection of who she is, she's responding in such a way that clearly is still her. Muscle memory, whatever.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because I wondered if her personality would be the same. And obviously we'll get to that later of some of the things that he talks about, but the fact that she made a comment that was sassy and called someone a microcock or whatever, and that he was like, that's my girl. Yup. She's the one.
I love that.
Definitely her. So she must have been a handful before too,
100%. I just can't imagine, forgetting basically, I don't know exactly how many years, but, basically your whole childhood / teenage years. Forgetting all of that and, starting over, but, really you have established a personality. I just can't imagine that not seeping through to some degree, but then you hear of stories where they really become a completely different person. Yeah. So I love that really she remained the same and it's still bleeding through.
Yeah. Because I think they said that she doesn't remember the last
I couldn't remember how many
years. He's 125 years.
He's old,
And so, or even older. I think they had been together for 125 years. So 100 years maybe they were together, and she doesn't remember 23 of it, which is 23 after that.
Yeah, it says he's lived with the bruising memory of Slata, her dragon, for the past 123 phases while sleeping and awake. So it's been that long.
Since she died.
Since supposedly she died.
She's been this whole time, and nobody has recognized her. Or has she? Yeah.
Or is she the moon that hatched? I'm wondering if Slaughter took her up into the sky.
Oh, I love that theory. I did not have that theory. Sorry, I just got so loud.
She hatched. Yeah.
Because she wanted her to.
Mm-hmm. And if she hatched eventually.
And that's why she doesn't remember anything.
100 years later or whatever.
Ooh, I love that.
I
mean, she has such a fascination with the moons. She has her favorite moon. And then she loves being cold. I was just like, we're definitely hinting at a lot of things here.
Well, in her original kingdom, I guess, is the cold kingdom, right?
I mean, they've definitely been hinting at her being Elwyn, what's her name? Okay. Yeah, from the diary, not immediately thought it was her, but I pretty quickly thought they were the same human being, if I'm being honest. You didn't?
Embarrassing. Because they didn't give any like he or her,
Oh.
she or he. I read like the first 4
As
or
a
5
male?
diary entries, thinking that it was a little boy talking and
Oh.
thinking that it was
So did I.
her significant other, because it just talks about her brother. It doesn't talk about her being a girl. So it's not until they say, when a prince from another kingdom wants to marry me or whatever, that I was like, oh yeah, I like got a little inkling at the end of the one previous before that, and then that one I was like,
that is so funny. I don't think I read it like that ever.
because
weirdly enough, I don't know why I assumed that, but
yeah, I read it as a little boy. I think I read it as Elwin rather than
because of the cursive,
because
of the
of the cursive. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, that is Elwin.
I know. I thought Alvin or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was a little boy to begin with.
See, and I just feel like
so I did not.
I thought
think
it was
that
just
it was
as
her.
soon as they started hinting about her love of cold and stuff like that, I was like, they gotta be the same. Like, she's clearly, at least from this world, there's some like cushion to this character, like relation something. And then as things progressed and like we realized, oh, like she really doesn't know about, like I was like, they gotta be the same. They gotta be the same. Because there was just too much similarity, I felt like, between a lot of also her personality then. Oh, she feisty then too. Oh, she's got to save her brother because what? I could not with her brother in this. Like, I was just like, Bud, what are you doing? Your poor little sister is just keeping you alive? Like, what? That whole thing.
He hurt
I
himself.
know, but hurt though.
His leg's broken.
How much younger was she? Like, she was only what? She was like 9.
Lots of years.
She was 9, and he was a teenager at least.
I don't know. It was just old enough, sibling complex in me that I was like, and you gotta protect your little sibling regardless of you being hurt. And instead I was like, homie's like taking a nap though. I mean, understandably, he's like, he hurt his leg. I get it. But I was just like, your 9-year-old sister is keeping your ass alive this whole time. That was wild to me.
I know.
I think because he didn't have like none of the gods spoke to him, right? He was a null, and so I think he had a lot to prove.
Yes.
And he probably fell into like this deep depression after breaking his legs. He finally got his egg. He's like, all right, the last thing I can do is try to get this thing to hatch. And so he's just holding on to, I don't know, this watermelon-sized egg.
Same.
I don't know how big this thing is.
That's how I picture it.
Which
trying to incubate.
Such an interesting concept.
And
like the way they have to.
I know, incubate it with ice once it starts.
Well, because it's a
shaking.
moon plume, right?
Yeah. But then, the fact that he hatches this little egg that goes completely wrong, but then she goes and just hops on a mature one and is like, I'm gonna ride you until you're mine, and I'm 9 years old. Like, what?
Didn't she also get an egg?
Yeah, she like
no, that was his egg
going. When it hatched, like make sure it bonded. Again, freaking 9-year-old. Like what?
Yeah. Tried,
it's freaking like a Leia making sure.
And then he probably felt so much pressure because I get the feeling that obviously we know they're a royal family, but I get the feeling they're a very big deal.
Yes,
of a royal line. So him not hearing any songs, I think, is very significant.
The parents didn't either, right? I thought none of them. Or was it just the... Because Mom, I thought, didn't either. Because...
No, Mom didn't.
No, Mom did.
She had the diadem on. The only reason she couldn't hear him is because the diadem silences them.
Because it sucks her powers enough so that she almost basically becomes null.
Yeah.
Because it takes that much of her power to control Claude that's in there. So that's how their royal line is so important. Is that they're the ones, not Claude. Sorry, the
Kayla's?
Yes, I think that's who it is.
Whatever his name is.
I read it as Salus.
Salus sounds good.
I don't know. But yeah, And remember, it always had to stay within that line.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were chosen to. So yeah, they're a big deal, I'd say.
I was having a moment where I was wondering if Khan's, when he meets with his niece, she's obviously a princess. For a second, I was thinking that she was Tyroth's daughter, but she's not. She's the other one's daughter. Because I was going to say, I get the opinion, or have an idea, I guess. Tyroth is mourning his wife that died. I have a feeling that that is Eluin, because they said she left a note to Khan saying she was leaving him for Tyroth, his brother. And Eluin and Tyroth is now been mourning for years and years and years his wife that died. So I feel like that might be Eluin. Like she might have married him out of... I'm sure that there is some kind of reason why she would have been forced to marry him, but that is like a little theory that I have, essentially. So I was like, oh shoot, is that princess her daughter? But it's not.
Interesting.
It would maybe be her niece. Because she's got the diadem on her head now.
See, that's... maybe it is her mom, and because she's so old.
No, because that is the daughter of the kingdom that Raeve currently lives in. That king, because they talk about that king always being off in that one area where he's getting his militia ready or whatever, and it talks about her mom being mated, fated, bonded, whatever they described it as, to her dad, and that she never speaks against him for that reason. So he still has, her mom is still in the picture, but that's why I had that little moment, because I was like, wait, could that be her daughter?
Wait, but then why does she... Because now that you mention that, she has a diadem, and she fell in love with the thing in it. Who's the thing? Is that not Salus?
It is.
Well, shoot.
So she has the diadem that Eluin had on at one point in time, and it was put on her when she was born. Like, it talks about it being placed on her head when she was born.
But the only way it can come off is if the person died.
Yeah, so she probably was born right when Eluin died.
To see... Because clearly she died to some degree, clearly. And I love the theory of her going to be a moon.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know when it came off during that whole process. And then hatching from that. I'm just very curious to see how the author goes about all of that. And, will we get all the answers? Because isn't this supposed to be a series?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. Especially with this world building, I would almost be disappointed if it was a one-off. That's just, it's too much to not be a series. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how she solves that, because truly there's so many questions still at this point.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, went way ahead because I, just had my little space out there.
And she I don't want to jump ahead to her. Essie?
Did anyone else get relationship vibes off of that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But then also, who the hell is Fallon?
Yeah. I don't think they've talked about it yet. I kept having that moment too of am I supposed to know who this is?
She keeps talking about how she had this relationship. I don't know what kind of relationship, but she had this relationship with Fallon, and she died. And then all of a sudden, Essie is now her roommate or whatever that she found coming out of the caves or whatever.
Well, yeah, because
and then she just took her in.
Yeah, the underground or whatever. The way she describes her, it's our home, the things that we do together, and then she talks about her beauty so much and how it's striking and takes her breath away and all these things that are very not a platonic relationship, but obviously nothing's ever been acted on because she hasn't even told her that she loves her as someone important in her life because she is
she believes
incapable
she'll
of those
die.
emotions.
Like, she's
Currently.
very much under the impression if she tells heals, then she will die. And sadly, it kind of went the other way. She didn't tell her, and then she died, and then she asked to tell her on her deathbed, essentially. I was so sad about all of that. I was so bummed. Essie seemed like someone, again, I would have liked to get to know more. I would have loved to see more of that dynamic play out. She really cared about Raeve. I love that she was just this little inventor / baker at home who was just like trying to take care of her and make sure she doesn't die. Like, loved her whole character. Short-lived, but loved her.
Well, she's like a genius. She's so smart.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I love that she sent Raeve a grocery list while she was doing her little assassin thing. Like, oh, on your way home, do you mind stopping by getting these things?
Fully knowing where she's at, what she's doing. She's like,
I know.
Once again, she has full confidence in her, other than she's given her those fallbacks of the things that she puts on
such an
her teeth.
Interesting concept for sure.
So
and I love
Yeah, I didn't understand what it does. Like, what
I think she can bite down on it and it activates something.
But she bit down on the one that she had when she was doing her first job, and I don't know what it did.
I don't think she actually bit down on it. She said she almost did. She was getting ready to.
She like let up on it or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't understand what these caps did. And then she said she made a diamond one out of dog poop.
Actually, never tell me that. Don't tell me the disgusting things that you actually use to make these things. I don't need to know. Thank you. Yeah. Gross. Because that's what binds the cap to her teeth. Like, and meanwhile, her friend's just like, I don't see the problem. Like, it's fine. I clean it the best of my ability. Like, it's just so funny. She's like, it's not gross. I'm helping you.
So funny.
It's not the poop. It's the stuff in the poop
I
that
clean the
we
poop
need
off.
to make it work.
She's like, I pull the chemicals out. It's fine. I've never been so quickly attached to like an inanimate that is now animated object. So
I imagined her as a little origami crane. That's
so did
how I
I
imagined her.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, she's just got this like.
Yeah,
she just
and then
slides around.
God, what is it? I'm trying to remember what it's from. Oh, I can't remember the movie. What movie is that? No.
Aladdin?
I think it's a 90s. Oh, it's the little blanket.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I pictured it acting like half the time. Let me hold, please. I'm going to look it up because now it's going to bother me. I think it has something with toaster in the name. Brave little toaster. The brave little toaster.
The little toaster.
Because there's like a little blanket that's like, I thought like a young little thing. There it is. This little guy. Because he like moves a lot like a blanket and stuff. Kind of what I pictured, just this innocent little like blanket. Because he was such a kid, young thing, and so the commonality for me, that's how I identified it. Yes, still pictured it as a paper crate, like with a crane and whatnot. But I was just like, oh, it has such a similar like vibe to that character that's kind of how I pictured it sometimes. And they're really to me in.
Well, and I was picturing like the memos that they have in Harry Potter that like
yes, I can
flit around. That's because they talk about them, you know, as they're walking through the city. When she's walking through the city or whatever, you see them kind of zooming around. The magical world that she's building is so interesting. Because you have elementals, and then it was a while before I feel like they referred to them as fae. We find out they are fae, other than the arched ears. They talk about that. The elementals, the way that their powers work, the fact that it's from singing from these gods, and that it's like howling, essentially. So interesting. It's definitely a very unique magical system.
And the fact they get louder the more powerful you are. So like I can only imagine if you do have a strong affinity with one of them or even multiple of them, like almost like your mental status is like gotta be a little worse for wear. Like
Yes.
you gotta be a little bit crazy at some
Yeah.
time. Like I can't imagine constantly hearing something else that's not for me all the time.
Yeah.
Just all the time. Always whispering.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Claude when she's screaming at you all
I
the
know,
time.
but like
She crazy.
like the way Raeve talks about her, I was just like, huh. I think a lot of the time, like she still talks about her like, oh, Claude, yeah, I know, yeah. Like it's just so interesting, like that dynamic. Yes.
Yeah, when she'll do like the thanks, Claude. You're my girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love it.
Agreed.
Yeah, but I love me. So cute and so like also
and the little
I need
she has.
Yeah.
It says, "I need you,"
oh,
and then after Essie dies, and she's like, "No, you don't," and then sends it back. I think that's so cool that you just have to make one extra
made me
little
so
fold,
sad.
and then it just returned to sender.
Guys.
But she doesn't even know who it is. She's had this note for
I think
years.
it's gonna come
you
into
guys.
play.
She's had this note for so long. She thinks that it doesn't belong to her.
Yeah.
I think it belongs to her.
I think it did go to her. I think it's going to be from Con, and she sent it
I
back
think
to
it's
the owner,
king.
and she's going to go back to Con.
No.
I think it's the
gonna
king.
find
I don't
me.
think
Wife
it's from
died.
Con.
Go to him or something. Like, and then he's
You think
gonna
it's-
realize she's also alive. And then there's gonna be a whole thing. Oh, you think it's someone else?
No. Okay, hold on. There is this quote in the book. It was like in chapter 45. It says, "She's so much more than a power play, so much more than the love of my existence. There's someone out there who needs her more than any of us do, and it's not our fucking brother."
Oh, you think it's
So
we don't
who
even
is
like
it? Who needs
know
her?
yet?
See, I thought
Because
that.
sent.
Oh, I thought that was referring to Slatra.
No, I think you thought this quote was referring to her and not.
That's where mine went. Is that Slatra is somehow going to be able to be saved?
But why would Slatra be the love of Khan's life?
No, he's talking about Eluin, but then he says there's someone that needs Eluin more than anyone else, and if Slatra is stuck up as a moon or somewhere else, I don't. That's where my mind went, but I could totally see what you're saying for sure.
I think there's
just
many
like,
possibilities
someone needs
here,
her.
honestly.
Well, maybe. Yeah, because that could be her niece, if that's her niece, but the princess, because she's got the diadem on her head, and she definitely needs some help if she's trying to get him out.
Yeah, I don't think she's doing well mentally.
When he was talking about, I was just like, oh, girl, get a moment of reprieve. I know you love him, but like, put on some iron for a minute, girl. Like, get a nap in. That's all I can think.
I don't even think that's an option for them, though. I think because the diadem they said is like literally embedded in their head. So I don't even think iron would work with them.
She did wear iron though. He talked about wearing iron at some point, and like it at least helped initially.
Was it her or was that?
It was her.
Eluin.
I feel like I remember her saying something off and it being like, because I thought she could did help.
And then she eventually started listening and actually.
So that's where I was like,
right.
girl,
yep, you're totally
just
right.
a minute and wait an hour for you to get a nap in. If maybe you too. Does he? I know, but does he love her, or is he trying to get out?
No, hell no. He definitely is using her. He's like,
he might, you guys. He's lonely.
I don't know.
Remember, that's
been in there
why.
a long.
He's lonely.
And he's
extra lonely.
On a lot of princesses. A millennia of princesses.
Dirty girl.
I think this one's really changed.
He's been on a lot of chicks' heads.
Oh my god, I'm dead. Yes, that's what I want to get to. What is the other? Obviously, it's I don't know, dissociative.
I don't think
it's something.
I don't think it's her. I think this might be a part of what happened while she was gone because it talks about her as its host. it calls her
A host, and she
host.
respects her.
Is this a part of why she lost her mind? She's got all of those runes that come up when fire is involved. Was something put into her head because she's got that giant slash on her head already? And she talks about obviously running away from some place. So I think she, during her time gone, if she wasn't in the moon, if she fell, whatever, was found by someone and was tortured in some way.
Definitely alluded to her fear of
For an
fire.
extended
So
amount
I
of
do
time.
think there's some form of something there.
Yeah. But
I thought the scar on her forehead was from the diadem coming off, and then that was the repair that they did, because they said that she had been
That makes
mended.
sense.
it definitely could be, yeah. But she also,
Because he looked for that specifically.
maybe she
That's
rips
how
it
she
off her head
dies?
at some point. Like, she's like, fuck this, pulling it out.
What the answers?
But she talks about being stuck in like a dungeon or being
Correct,
stuck in
with
another
fire.
place like that.
Yes.
And she remembers that. So that's probably one of her earliest memories from
Unless
this
she's
part
seeing
of her
some
life.
sort of flash from something sooner.
Mhm.
Do you think maybe?
Yeah. But I don't know. Is the other that creature that's under the lake? Or is that the rest of her power?
And I liked
And all
getting
of
to
her
see
memories.
that. Clearly she has more than one affinity.
Yes, but she doesn't do
No.
Boulder very well. She doesn't sing
But
to
she-
him very well, even
She's
as
ignoring
the
him.
other.
She
She's
makes a
ignoring
comment
him, it
at some
feels
point
like.
that she ignores him. And so she knows like the basics of what he can, whatever.
It's like your Spanish, Brie.
Stop it right now. Not wrong. But yeah, so I'm just curious. I really think I will be surprised if she doesn't have an affinity for more than just those two. I think that was just a sneak peek at, hey, homegirl's got more than one.
They talk about it. They ask.
They did talk about
they
it.
are like, is
I was
she
gonna
still
say-
speaking to all four? And he's like, no, right now.
Sorry, I forget you guys
Boulder
caught up
and-
to me. That's why I'm being
and
so
Claude.
elusive.
She's all four. So
Mhm.
I feel like, because she likes to go down to her little lake, build herself a little hole, and stuff whatever memory she doesn't want to deal with down that hole and watch it
Mhm.
sink into the lake. And then whatever creature, went after the one that was about Khan. So I'm like, is the other under the lake? Because the lake was broken while the other was free. And I feel like all of her memories are under that frozen lake, which is going to be all of her songs also. So I think once her memories come back, she will be fluent in all four songs. I think she hasn't
Damn.
relearned Boulder. And she has relearned
Which
Claude.
I think, yeah,
But then
I think
she's
Claude will
ignoring the
always be
other
her
two.
strongest affinity. Probably always been like the first and forefront. I'm intrigued to also see then how she feels about her having fire. Really, fire is such a trigger for her currently. And then I also wonder if it really has something to do with her fire, not someone else's fire. Like, as far as where that trauma stemming from, like, did she have to do something with fire that was really bad? Or did something, like, someone else do it? Like,
Well, that's why I wonder if her fire, if her Ignos, is going to be her most.
Because of a dragon? She's a dragon?
Because she's a dragon?
Okay, hold on. In this last chapter we read, chapter 45, there's also another quote in here. Nobody can suffer what she's been through and not be pitted with a well of dragon flame, whether she remembers her past or not. Tread carefully, Con, or she'll incinerate herself and turn to ash in your fucking hands. Is that a metaphor, or does she really just keep collecting this dragon flame from all this trauma, and then eventually she'll explode and just poof?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that very well could be a part of these powers, definitely. But I think they talk about how some people have such a strong affinity with their dragon that they can manifest their powers. So I'm guessing her affinity was very strong with Slatra before. So she might have dragon flame in her. And maybe that's why she's afraid of flame. Another aspect of that is that she hid from Raigun's fire because the warmth of it, I don't know if it was the warmth or the light from it, lit her up and her whole body was covered in runes. So she crouched and was hiding because she didn't want people to see that.
Clearly has, like, to why she's covered in runes, I would think, then. Like, she hasn't said or...
Yeah. And it scares her. But I think it's only Dragonfire because I think his little, what do they call them? Weeks, whatever. The one that he used that she doesn't like is the Dragonfire one. So it must only be triggered by Dragonfire.
They're the one that hides from it, or does she also hide from it?
Yeah, the other...
That was her that was hiding from it. But the other doesn't like flame, but
perturbed by it.
Didn't really care. The other is wild. Can we just talk about that scene? I pictured that so well in my head of just trying to think. I feel like there's a movie that I've watched this where like they go into that hunter mode. It's not them. It's this other creature inside their body. Almost like when, you know, someone turns into a werewolf or something, you're seeing it from that perspective. But just picturing her on the hunt, ready to kill, and then zero fear. There's no fear there whatsoever.
Yes.
And so much power. And the fact that she woke up and was just like, oh, yep, another blackout. Oh, and I killed...
It was a lot.
25 people.
Yeah.
And like they...
Sounds about right.
Like, she seems aware that it is this other that's taking over her, like, and seems fine with that. Because then she had talked about how she still had shit in her teeth.
That was making me real gaggy. I was like, I was struggling. I like started skipping over it because she was talking, like she kept bringing it up so much. I was like, we don't need to know about the man's finger that's in your freaking mouth right now.
Talking about it.
No.
The little pieces of sinew left between your teeth.
That did me in.
No,
yep, agreed. I was
that.
like, cannot read this. Continue.
Well, and she like so gross. I feel like she felt the
she welcomed it. She's like, I don't want to think about SC at all at this point. Like, I want to go numb because clearly that's what the other brings.
Yep, and she felt like a deep crack. Yeah. So which was that the ice cracking? Because then when it goes back down and shows the ice, she says that like the whole surface is all cracked. But then later on, it's back to being frozen again because she cuts her little circle out and throws down some memories in there. So I feel like, and it talks about like an entity that is down there underneath glowing that kind of follows her around. So I wonder if that is the other.
I'm telling you guys, I really like
the way
this
they've
story
done it.
so far.
They've really like, you do not know what the is going on most of the time. I'm just like, I'm along for the ride, which I know is a really hard for a lot of readers that are not used to fantasy. I know this is a bit of a struggle to just be along for the ride with minimal answers for at least half the book, really. We finally got like a tiny bit of answers. But really, there's so much we're blissfully unaware of at this point. We're just like, hopefully I'll find out eventually that this will make sense. But yeah, she's done a really good job. And she's just so descriptive where you almost don't know, is this an answer to something or is she just being very descriptive? Like all of your quotes so far, Veronica, I'm like, is that a metaphor? Is that an answer? Why is she so good at this, actually?
We're talking about the dungeon. We need to talk about how we talked about the finger getting bit off. And then how...
We can talk about her pin.
Yes.
In her back or in her shoulder.
Yeah. She gets shot with a pin, which I just thought that she got shot and it was like, oh, that's...
With a slingshot!
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh,
what the fuck
sucks.
is that?
You know, she got shot. It's in her arm. I didn't realize that it's like an actual thing because they talk about someone else getting pinned later where they use it to nullify them, which makes sense. I just thought she got shot. And then I realized, this is an actual thing that they do to...
Yeah, well, and I mean, how else were they gonna
Mm-hmm.
placate her so she didn't like murder literally everyone.
Yeah.
You know how he had her in a different holding cell prior to going into the dungeon? He was trying to get more information. He wanted to know where the Fjordiath was. And he said, if you tell me, this would be a lot easier. He didn't torture her for very long. Yes, he fucked up her back with that whip. But for someone who wanted to try to get more information, he didn't try for very long. And so then he was like, here you go. Now you're going to be in the dungeon and they're going to set you to either death or death.
I think it was longer than we even realized, though. Like, it was just kind of like a fade to black.
I was gonna say,
whipping the fuck out of her situation.
Yeah,
I think he whipped back
a really
apart.
long time.
I know,
Yeah.
but it was
no
like
for like what you could have dragged out, being like, and or why didn't we try something besides whipping? Like, clearly that's doing nothing. Like, if he had brought in fire, you know, she would have struggled a little more. But I mean, obviously he didn't know that. But it was interesting they didn't try a different modality. They truly just tried whipping.
You guys are too used to
like
100%. I took more torture.
Yes, I'm used to that torture.
More.
You're like, why aren't they eating
fucking
wrist off?
Honestly,
why aren't they eating food out of their own
pretty much,
excrements?
Exactly.
After the last book.
Anyway, so she's
Yeah.
So she's in the dungeon and she meets a new person, Rook. I just read it like Rook.
Yeah.
Anyways. And not only does she have to pay for her own what's it called? Assassin things. She's got to pay for the food while she's in prison if she still lives.
That whole part, I was like, damn, this kingdom really does suck.
He's nickel and diming you for things.
Yeah. Okay, how did you guys picture Rook?
I didn't.
I don't know what I was having a hard time. Like, what is he? He's fluffy.
Woto.
He's a Woto. He's a Woto.
But he had skin on his arms and legs with furry patches, furry head, furry ears. His belly, I think, is skin.
I don't know that.
I don't know what I was picturing.
Furry creatures.
Is a Woto?
No, I'm looking at the description of Woto again. So, furry creatures with big paddled ears, pronged teeth, and whiskers. They are around 2/3 the size of a regular fae and are prized for being able to steal things from tricky places. They are great hoarders. These creatures are verbal. Honestly, to me, that sounds like a dog.
I was like, dog or rabbit? Because we talk about like the two.
That's true.
Teeth.
I can see that too.
But yeah, initially I thought dog.
Yeah. I think I just kind of created a black mass in my brain for that character, and I didn't like put too much thought into it.
Yeah, I was just like, he's a scraggly friend.
Guys, my movie must be complete.
No, I created a black.
No.
Black has to be complete in my head.
If I can't picture them, they're there, but they're not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they talk to you, but I don't know what you look like.
See, I can't. I have to.
You just dig in a hole. Maybe he's like a mole.
Maybe a mole. Digging, wasn't he? Because he's like
dog,
bunny, something along those lines. A really dog. Like.
Yeah.
Some rodent.
Or a rodent. But I feel like he would have had like a naked tail then.
I don't know. He's fae. Maybe that part he evolved.
I think we're thinking way too far 100%, into this.
But that tracks for us. Okay.
Stupid details that I'm making us focus on.
Visualize.
It's fine.
Do you guys think there is a significance to Prisoner 73? Like, why did she choose that number?
Like, that's how she signs for her
73
food or whatever. I thought she was just in cell 73 is why she picked Prisoner 73. Like, I didn't think there... Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. She was in cell 73. She looked at the ground.
How did she know?
She just didn't want to write
written right outside, and she was like, well, what am I going to sign?
Her name associated.
I see. So no significance. Great. I'm just looking into things I don't remember.
Correlate things.
Fantastic.
And I love it. I know.
It
well,
works
and
sometimes.
then, of course, our mystery man shows up for Rook, which he just keeps happening to run into her.
Just so
I was like,
happens.
really?
And she looks atrocious, you guys.
And smells atrocious.
And she's like, oh my God, he's in pristine white. And here I am with my back shredded to pieces. My clothes just tattered,
Well,
and
and
I
she
just
really did
reek
not
of shit.
show her back.
Please
Like,
don't.
She really did not want to have to. She's not like being weak, clearly, understandably. But
no. Doesn't like.
Well, and then I love that he just like baits her. Sure. He knows how to get her to not comply. Let's be real. Somewhat be easier to get along with. But yeah. How do you guys feel about like his help at this point? Because obviously he keeps subtly helping her through all of this. What did you think about that? Like, what did you think his motive was? I guess
I knew that she was obviously, her memory is gone. That's been, I feel like, pretty obvious through this. And I knew that she was from his past and that he obviously was in love with her. I got that right from the very start, that he has motivation to help her and help her along, and he's going to do like whatever needs to be done because she's important to him. But then the times that he was kind of a dick to her, I was like, damn.
I know, which
like, this is
but I think that's how, because she clearly had no recollection of him, I think that was just the way of getting her to respond the way he needed her to a lot of the time. Like, and like truly, I think back in the day, they clearly had some fun, witty banter, and they gave each other. She's probably called it, like said he's had a micro. Like, there's just no way they haven't had that relationship before. So I just feel like he kind of would ease into something where like he already knew how to talk to her, and we were just seeing glimpses of that where she's just like, well, who are you though? Like, why do you speak to me like that? And he's just like in his head like, I know you.
No, I thought that the way he was saving, I was like a little confused because he just went in there and broke the lock with his hand the first time, and like so easy. Like he could have just took her right then and there.
He's strong.
Like,
yeah.
And then he's like, the guards are coming, so I gotta pretend that I'm not here to save you, and I'm not really the king. I'm not really the fucking king, right? And nobody like knows who he is. And then he watches the trial, and I didn't understand that either. And then he comes back and patches up her back with Bea, and he like is with her the entire time. And I'm like, so you're watching, but then you want to help, but then you're patching her up to go get eaten by these dragons. And I kind of suspected that he'd be there to save her, but wasn't sure. Then I got all confused. Sorry, my ADHD is like kicking in really hard right now. Then I got confused why the queen was all frantic when she got tied to the post, and then the dragons were coming. I know, but
think about
who the hell is this queen? Like, how from how long ago? That's the part that I didn't understand.
I think all of these people are hundreds of years old, and I think as Eluin led that she would have been, and that her parents were, and that she was going to have a very long life, she like alludes to that a lot. They're all royals, and she was obviously taken by this family. So I felt, because like I said, I had this theory the entire time that she was significant and royal and lost from whatever. So I was not super surprised when the queen reacted like that. It was just a matter of like, it in my mind, like, is this a sister? Is this a best friend? Is this like, what was their relationship? Sister-in-law. Might be a sister-in-law. Well, could have been for two of the brothers, it sounds like. Obviously, it doesn't sound like her and Khan ever married, but
I really think I think something
No,
bad
yeah.
ended their relationship or whatever they had going on, and she ran off to the other one. I just want to know what he did to fuck up. Because
Do you think?
no,
I don't think that. I think
because I feel like they allude to him
No,
doing something.
I don't think something bad happened
that,
between them.
affected their relationship. Yes, I think
Oh,
something
her and
bad.
Con, 100%.
Yes.
Something bad
Really?
happened.
I guess.
I think something bad happened with Slatra.
Oh, but
Well,
did
that's the dragon.
Yeah. Which is the most
Con do
important thing in
something
her
bad?
entire life. She lost her entire rest of her kingdom, the rest of her family, and he says that he won't, like, is so fixated on whatever happened to Slatra, and that she won't be able to forgive him. So, and that he, like, made some mistake, and so what else I feel like could he have done that is so horrible?
Oh. So do you think this happened before or after he became king? Before he became king, because he became king after he killed his dad, because his dad had killed someone he loved, which I'm assuming he was talking about Eluin or Raeve.
Mm-hmm. But did his dad kill Eluin Raeve off of information he got from Con? That Con unwittingly told him?
No, because it
like
sounded
his
like he
dad.
hated him from the beginning. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I
Yeah.
mean, he still could have told him something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like he's, because his dad had sent them off for, like, when he was young to that other warrior tribe, that he probably already didn't have a
true, 'cause
great relationship with his dad at the point.
Yeah. But then he obviously met Eluin at some point, so he came back because she was taken to
yeah,
his
I was gonna
capital.
say,
Dome.
yeah, I think
Dome.
Con fucked up. She left. Daddy Dearest got pissed, murdered her, and then he had to murder your dad. Like, that's something to the something of that. It's what I think happened. But do love his nickname for her being Moonbeam. Like, I thought that was very cute.
Oh, I know,
think
it's cute.
going to allude to something still, obviously. But loved the cute little nickname. But
And
then
she's
still
like,
responds
"Don't call
to
me
it just
that."
fine. Like, I was just like, you know.
But I always kind of thought he
Yes.
was going to break her out of, like, I knew he was going to go through the whole trial. That's why he wanted her to go to the dragon pit rather than being quartered and taken through the town or whatever, because he knew he'd be able to get her out and play it off as she died, because they talk about how big his dragon is. So I knew he was going to come in and snatch her with his dragon, but I wasn't necessarily thinking he was going to eat her.
Died at that whole thing.
You didn't think? You thought he was just gonna grab him with her
like
with
like
his
on the
feet or his
stick,
claws?
just like pull the stick out and go. But I mean, it makes sense. Then they're gonna think that she's still alive, and that's a problem. And obviously, his dragon is very recognizable.
I trapped in the mouth situation. That whole thing. Oh my god! I was just like,
when she was drowning
on the saliva.
Yes,
Once again, I was like,
yes.
It was too much. That was too much. But then it was funny because when he then once heard to later fly on the, she's like, put me back in the mouth. I'd rather drown in this dragon's mouth to be on the back of it. And I was like, damn girl, you just talked about how horrible that was. You really think the back's gonna be worse? And she was just like, I can't be close to this man.
Well, she's so sensitive to light.
Is anyone else having a hard time separating Fourth Wing and this? Because, like, they're talking about climbing a ladder to get on the dragon, and they're talking about a saddle on it, and I'm like, you guys are not.
No, I didn't even think of Fourth Wing.
Oh, yeah. My mind went straight to
I
Fourth
did
Wing,
not.
and I was like, they have to use a ladder? Try being in the Rider's Quadrant. You don't need a fucking ladder. You just climb right up them.
But man, he just picked her straight up and climbed that ladder at the same
He can
time.
crush a whole freaking lock.
Yes.
I think he can
Yes,
manage
he
to
did.
toss her over his shoulder and climb up a ladder at the same time. I don't know. He sounds real hot to me. In my brain, I really do great visualization for him. Oh my god.
Is he your caddy?
I don't know. The way he like throws her around is just love.
I picture her really small
I agree.
for some reason. I don't know why. I picture her like little tiny assassin that is like just a stabby little person. And I picture him really big. Like normally my main male characters are like tall, lean, muscular.
Yeah.
Like Reese. But I picture him more like Cassian, but even bigger.
Yeah.
Like The Rock. Yeah. No, like like big.
Agreed.
Like that.
I kind of picture him more beefy.
Beefy.
But does he have a beard
also because his name is Con.
He has a beard. That does it for me too. Love a beard. Clearly,
I can't do a big beard. I mean, I can't do a big beard.
Picture it like my husband's beard. I'm not picturing like
stubbly kind of thing.
Then I'm almost going all the way to Game of Thrones and picturing him.
I think his beard's supposed to be a little bit more scruffy.
God, I can't even remember his name. No, not
the Mountain.
No, freaking Khaleesi's first. What is his name? Yes, that is what I picture. If it's that long, like I picture him, but like the muscular build. Yes, I still do picture him like that. I don't think they say it's long. That's why I'm saying I picture his my husband's. Let me tell you, I picture my
just
beard does it for me personally, because obviously.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad that your husband's beard does it for you.
Sorry, everyone. Really have the hots for my husband. It's fine. But yeah, so he then flies her to. It's not even a house. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like the way they describe it is so interesting. That his mom made. Agreed, which is why I don't want to. Like yes, which is why I don't feel like house really does it justice as far as how it's described. Yeah,
it's like a cottage.
No, he goes to this oasis or like by like in the mountain or like a little spot by the mountain to go to the water.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
healing
that.
water.
Talking about the house.
I skipped the oasis.
It's like a cottage.
We go to the oasis, we get healed, and then we fly to the cottage. Sorry, fast forwarded too far.
Because that's where he takes out her pin.
And they're so sorry I skipped that, guys. My apologies. Getting ahead of myself. I just want to talk about the cottage. I thought the cottage was cool.
I know. I feel like we've
his
skipped
mom's
a lot.
house,
like all the healing that Bea does, and him like holding her hand through it. Like it's weird. She's very stabby with him, but then like also allows a lot.
I mean, it's because he smells good, you guys.
Oh, I mean, God, he smells so good.
It really
a man that smells good.
A bad habit. Yes, that is a thing. A bad habit that she has. And this is coming from a nail biter. She needs to stop picking at her goddamn nails.
She picks at her skin all the time.
Her picking at the side of her nail, at the skin on the side of her nail, all the time. I'm like,
does it make you do it?
So coming from a nail biter, that's very funny. That because that did not bother me. Like because I think I've done that. So like that visual doesn't like do me in.
I probably do that too, but I don't know why I'm picturing it as like.
I don't think she's making it bleed.
Like a
no, and I saw it more as like a nervous, like scratching at it, like feeling like maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does do it
but
a
it's
lot.
like all the time. It is a lot. She's
got a lot of stuff going on, you guys.
But I did like the cottage.
Yeah,
it's crooked
I liked
little
that it was
framing.
Imperfect and that like it really came from his mom. It seemed like who primarily built all things in there. I don't know. It seemed so homely and so different from him in a lot of ways, but also like it kind of showed. I feel like where he came from a little bit, which I liked. But then also I could not get over her just like, I must leave, even though it's pouring down rain and terrible weather, and I don't actually know how I'm going to get away from him, but I'm going to get away from him. Ooh,
But he cooks for her, you guys.
Guys, and
he
he
picks
cooks
vegetables
well.
and he cooks for
That's
her.
also an attractive quality for me.
A king that cooks, look at him go. But I also feel like this place is significant. Like, I feel like it is a significant place to them and their past and their history just because of the feeling she gets when she walks through the door. Like, I feel she talks about the, like, overwhelming feeling of just goodness and warmth and how it makes her feel, which I feel like is coming up from past memories.
Yeah, I would be kind of surprised in all that time if she had not been there at some point. That would be weird to me.
Yeah. Or if they like lived there
Or maybe
together
that
or
was their
something at some
escape.
point. Like
I was gonna say, I bet they
Like
escaped
a
there a lot of the time to
honeymoon.
get away from the city. Like,
well, or if she was with his brother,
oh,
and that was their meeting place.
Man, I just need to know. All the speculation is just freaking so much. Yes. But you guys, I know that we got a description of this house being crooked and the windows were like oddly shaped, but for some reason I imagined the kitchen being like this beautiful sous chef kitchen with this great big countertop because I don't know why. I was just like this oddly shaped house with this beautiful kitchen, huge massive kitchen, like that's the focal point because that's just, I don't know why. Did they say something like that?
No, I just pictured like a hobbit's house. I don't know why. Or like it reminds me of the Weasley's house from Harry Potter. It to me it was like very like homely and warm, lots of woods and lots of organic.
I pictured a lot of the house. But yeah, I still pictured it being more hobbity, like a lot of it's made of like a clay. I think one of Mom's affinities must have been boulder, and like I really think we used a lot of our power to make this what it was. So I pictured a lot of clay, a lot of earthy, everything everywhere, and I loved it. I also loved that like there was like a whole ass garden that he's like just pulling freaking all these vegetables from. I was like,
I know, just piling it on top of her.
To me. No, I really like this man. I'm very intrigued by him. I like him.
Or he gets so mad at her when he plates her food for her and he sets it in front of her and she's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? My hands are still tied and you gave me a spoon. Like, how am I supposed to, can you imagine trying to like get your spoon in your mouth with your hands tied together?
For me and my brain, I was like, girl, it ain't that hard. Flip the spoon around. Like, because I went through this in my mind. You're like this. If you hold the end of the spoon, and then the bottom of the spoon is here, and then you.
But also, y'all, it's like fucking soup. I don't know. Grab the bowl and put it up to your mouth. I was like, I wanted he saw you in the freaking
just
cell,
pick it up.
butchered up. Like, fucking grab the bowl. No shame. It's soup. Who cares if you're fucking slurping in front of this very attractive man, like, who smells delightful? Like, come on.
Well, yeah, because the first thing she does is like put her face in it.
Dying.
Like, that's like, better?
Like, I pictured her lapsing it up like a
this
dog.
Is good.
When she did that. Like,
yeah, and then she fucking bites him like a dog.
She's a bit wild.
I was like...
I'm a biter too, you guys. I'm one of those with cute, aggressive people. But that's not the kind of biting I like to do.
Yeah, blood like that, though.
Ooh, he was so mad, too.
For a second, I was like, the other came out. Because the other seems very bitey.
Fighting
very bitey.
Fingers in her
Talks about wanting to eat those people.
The other's a little bitey. Ugh, God, I can't.
Yeah. And likes to, I think, eat people.
Probably.
Or something.
Yep. Woke up because of...
I'm just gonna. There's a black void in my brain. I'm not picturing that one. Yeah.
Put it in the
Drop
lake.
that memory in there,
Okay,
freeze
put
it
it in the
over. No, thank you.
Drop it in. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then he feeds her.
Well, and she finally
He
just like
takes care of
accepts
her.
it. Thank God. I was like, man, just.
I know he's like, why can't you just ask for help? You stubborn
But
whore.
I mean,
Just
let's
kidding,
be
he
real.
didn't
He
call her
got
that.
it.
I mean, he slams
I
her
know he
ass up
does.
against that wall, though.
I mean, there's just something about this character that really does. Oh, I got it. Yes,
They have
far
their tender
and few
moments,
between.
you
She
guys.
tends to
They do.
complicate those a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like just because...
Like, how sweet was... Sorry, go ahead. How sweet was it that he threw a bar of soap at her? He's like, here, you stink. Boom.
That had me
Just
dying because then
at
she was still
you.
struggling to God. Can you imagine if she had to ask for help on that? Sorry, can you suds me up, sir? Oh, I think I would do that. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like I'd be like,
yes.
Okay.
can I get some help?
Yes, I will.
Sorry.
I think I just have felt
Agreed.
so bad for him this whole time because I have obviously had it in the back of my mind of who she is to him because of the like looks that he gives her. And so I'm just thinking of it from his perspective, like when they finally do like get intimate to a degree, he's like, I will do whatever you want. Like, you name it, I am there. Because think about it. This is the first time he's been with the love of his life in 125 years or whatever.
Oh.
From his perspective, of course he's looking at her like she freaking hangs the moon from the sky. Which freaks her out.
She does not
which is
remember
also
him at all.
understandable
And she's
from
like,
her point
I
of
just need
view.
a release. I'm like weirdly attracted to you. Let's
No.
freaking do this. And he's like, no,
Yeah,
that's
she's
not
like-
what it is for me. It's not what it is.
Yeah. Part of me was kind of glad that they stopped. Because I was like, okay, we need a little bit more of a slow burn here. Action. And because I knew that she was just trying to get a release. And
I know. I was going to be a little disappointed if they were going to bang it out right then and there. I was like, she doesn't even know you, bud. Like, no.
yeah. Which is fine in any other circumstance. But like,
Correct.
You know,
I think
too
it's
much
too
about
weirdly
her.
one-sided at that point to like feel okay.
Yes.
Like coming out of that.
Yes.
I didn't feel bad for him. I was enjoying the whole thing. I loved all the things. I didn't feel bad for him. He knew what he was getting himself into.
I mean,
No, I didn't feel bad. But also, he sleeps naked.
There was just this blanket barely hiding anything. Like, was that what it was? I was
No,
like,
it was just a pillow.
okay.
But like, he knew she was probably gonna try to sneak out. I'm like, bud, this is the night you decided.
I was gonna say,
sleep
feels
naked?
like
maybe
a goal.
he did it to.
Like, oh,
catch her
if
off
she
guard.
sees me naked,
Yeah.
she won't leave. I look fire.
She's gonna have to walk by me naked.
I don't
No.
know. I don't think he thought like that. Some people just have to sleep
Well,
naked, you guys, and some people don't
Not
care.
when you have
Like
a
sometimes they're
fugitive
just.
with
But
you
I
that
thought
you
they
know is
talk
trying
about
to
at some
run.
point that like nudity isn't as weird for them. Like, ugh.
No,
Like
oh,
that's
yes.
like much more
Yeah.
commonplace. I feel like in a lot of this world, where like
Because it's hot there, so it's just for comfortability.
I really don't.
Yeah, you're right. Because it was
See, he just naked.
a big deal to her that he covered her up and like thought about her.
But one of the things that she noticed about him, aside from his musculature and his great physique, was the burns on his thighs. What do you think? Like, what do you think happened to him?
I know, because all of the scars make sense because they're from the Jokal clan when he was there.
I think
But
it's
the
from dad or
burns
something. I
more
really
feel
think there was something like,
more significant.
you know, I'm
Significant.
just used to bad dads at this point. Well, and then also we
Maybe.
see what his tattoo of the, like, it's like the two dragons or something.
yeah.
Oh, God, what was it?
It's the same as his Momar. How did you guys say that? Mamari? Mamar? His necklace. We'll
Yeah.
just say it's the same as his necklace, which is the moonbeam. No, not moonbeam. The moon.
Plume.
No, what are they called? Oh my god, what are
Moon
they?
plume?
Moon plume.
Mhm.
And the saber sith? Is that
Yeah.
how you say that?
Mhm. That's what I said, yeah.
Saber sith and the moon plume together, which is obviously symbolizing.
Well, and that she was like, she liked the tattoo. There was something about it that she was like, ooh, hello, I like.
Well, and she has a loom on there, which is her brother. And that's why she's drawn to that moon.
I know.
Because it's her brother. And
She doesn't know.
I know she doesn't know that, but she has that on her back. And it talks about that big moon that she's never seen.
Oh, it's hers.
Is it her?
Ew.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Because the biggest moon on there is one that she said that she has never seen.
See, and I knew there was some that fell or whatever, but I really did not put together that she probably came from a moon. Like, I mean, clearly when the moon hatched, maybe I should have put more of that into that, but I did not. Because I just don't do that normally. But now you guys are making me think about a lot of things. And I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to know how this
good.
plays out so bad now. I'm going to really just freaking read the rest of this tonight after we stop filming. I'm just going to be like, gotta go.
I know.
I mean, I probably do the same thing if I
That
didn't
is
have
valid.
mom things to do in the morning.
I do not have those responsibilities.
Same. Solo mom things to do.
So she gets turned down after she tries to make whoopee with him, and he's like, no, this isn't the way I want it to be. He sends her back upstairs, and she climbs out the little window, and she runs away into a river.
Yeah, the fact that she's just like, Cliff? Yeah, I'm gonna go down that in the middle of the rain. That sounds like a good idea. The fuck?
That sounds like a great
So
idea.
Literally so
Man.
dumb. And then you happened upon a log in the river, floating down this river. And then I love so much. Yes,
After
like,
getting knocked
girl,
out.
how are you alive? First off,
Yeah.
she has 9 lives, apparently. And then I love that the clan she stumbles upon happens to be the exact same one that he had been in. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did say they're really close to it.
clearly.
He did mention that, like, that area was very close to the tribe that he grew up.
He wasn't kidding,
Pardon.
because that's where she ends up. Well, and then,
I know, with a big, giant, invisible.
oh my
Freaking
god,
Kit Kat.
I loved that whole thing. Just like, nope, you're gonna do what I want. Nope, you can't go that way. You gotta go this way. I love, yes.
The
thought
herder.
that was such a-
Mhm. Wait, did you imagine it as a kitty cat?
Yeah, I imagine it as like a saber-toothed tiger with big, giant tusks. And it talks about how furry it is. And that it's like kind of feline, has
That's
a
all,
long
which is
tail.
funny.
That's not how I pictured it.
How did you picture it?
I pictured it. You guys watched the Neverending
how I
Story,
pictured
yeah?
Yeah.
So I just imagined that thing, but
Dragon?
with teeth.
See, but they talk about him being fuzzy
I
and having
clearly
a mane and
read
how it
that
sits
too
on his
fast.
haunches.
But I think it was because the personality reminded me so much of Toothless that's why I pictured it like, like, no, you will
Mhm.
go
Yeah.
which way. I'm just going to picture a fuzzy Toothless now. Make it more.
Yep. Yeah, no, I pictured like a literal saber-toothed tiger.
So basically a stitch is what you're saying with
God,
wings.
I love. But yeah, it was so funny. Like, that thing cracked me up so bad.
Fair.
And then just her being like revered in this clan, and she's like, guys, does anyone speak my language? I'm very over this. I just want to leave and go murder someone. Can I please do that now? And everyone's like,
Just put me
no.
back in
Funny.
She
the
kept being
river.
like, please throw me in the river, please.
Yeah. She's like, but do you think that he herded her toward the trial that she went through, or do you think he herded her so that Khan could find her?
I think it was both.
Like, the second one?
The second
Like,
one.
all these other things just happened.
Mhm.
I think
You think
that,
so?
Yeah, I think that it was so that now Khan technically
Right.
has a claim over
Is now
her.
binded to her.
And she was protected in the process because he named her as his greater.
I
And the fact that he named her
The
like he
5
did
pounding
the
6, yeah. Well, it was like
6.
one more than it was supposed to be.
Five?
Or something.
To me,
Yeah.
it was one more
Yeah.
than their tribal leader. So to me, I'm like, is that for his mate?
I mean, you know,
hopefully we find out, because
Okay, but I had a
I'm
whole
very
thing
curious.
with these fights. One, so good. Loved this entire part.
Why did she have to get naked? Why did they strip her down to just red strips of things?
Because then she was, because one, because then they were gonna have a party afterwards, and she was gonna go
Oh,
get
gotta
braided,
be all
basically.
ready to go get knocked
Okay.
up. Yeah, honestly.
it was her lingerie. Got it.
Well, and it was
So those-
essentially of the style of what they were wearing. They were all in like gossamer
Minimal.
silk,
Minimal.
getting her ready for her wedding,
Minimalist.
basically.
So are those necklaces that they gave her, that they presented to her, are those basically like engagement rings? Is that like how we are seeing it? They're like, here, take my token.
This is gonna put myself here. In like sororities and fraternities, people get pinned. So they have their pin, which represents their like love for their tribe. In this part, their love for their fraternity, and they pin a girl saying that I'm putting you above that, and that you are now like the most important person. So that's a part of like that community. So in my mind, I kind of pictured it similar, where like this represents me within this tribe. It's specific to me. It's my identity, and by me putting it on you, it's a claiming and putting you as like the most important person, I guess.
I like
My
that.
partner. Which in Hawk's place, it was a claiming. 100%. It was just, I own you now. But can we just talk about him for a hot sec? Because he got caught up by Zoran or whatever, and then kills him fairly quickly, but like he still was kind of cut up by him. So then he goes over. She obviously denies him and is like, I'm gonna fight for myself.
And I liked that they let her.
Love that. Yes, girl, do that. And the fact that, yes. And I was interested about the Queen Oaha, whatever her name was.
Yes.
Because she speaks her language. So it was like, did this happen to you? That's where my mind went. Did this happen to you? And obviously she's good with it because she was happy with her little baby.
Well, the herder said, or they said that if the herder allows her to, then they're going to let her do it.
Yeah. But, thank God. He's just like, I'm just sleeping over here. It's fine. The fact that she then goes and beats the crap out of him, really. Like, he plays dirty and throws a freaking snake at her, which no one sees. Like,
so bad.
He pulls it out of his pants.
Ew.
And then he chucks it at her chest.
I know, but I'm like, how do you stick your hand
I
in your
pictured like
pants
a
and no one
pocket.
sees
I
it?
wasn't picturing
Done
anything.
that.
Shoving it and
I
throwing
was
it out.
picturing
Like,
a pocket.
I pictured.
Oh, no.
Like, I pictured like a back
I
pocket.
imagine
He
it-
reached behind and threw it at her.
I totally saw it as him pulling out his snake.
That's what I
and
thought
this
you
little
pictured, and I
tiny
was like,
viper.
that is not how I pictured that.
So
I
funny.
figured it was like,
See, maybe
I
I'm
pictured
picturing
a
too
tiny
big of a
snake. I picture a really
Maybe it was
small,
like a much
venomous
like a really
snake
small.
that he does like a
Okay.
quick throw, bites, and then it scurries into the sand, so like nobody can see it. It was a dirty move.
What talking a
Agreed.
snake? He is a snake. But she F's him
Yes.
up before that. She slices
Easily.
him apart.
Mhm.
Like big time slices him apart. Do you think he was just feigning that he had passed out, obviously?
No, I think he
when
really did
when
pass
she choked
out.
him out? Because he
I
got
don't
up
think so.
immediately. Literally he got up immediately. So he had to have been faking it, right? You can't just like pass out from getting choked out like that and
I
immediately
don't know that I
pop up.
pictured it immediately.
I don't know
within,
how
like, a
long it
minute.
takes for someone
I
to
just
recover.
figured she didn't kill him. She just knocked him
'Cause
out.
she was
I don't know that
pretty-
like you're knocked out for a long time, and I don't know how long she was choking, or like did he just I don't know. I
Yeah.
could see it being like, oh, I recovered in a minute, and clearly he was pissed at that point, I think that was driving him. So as soon as he woke up, he said,
Yeah.
F this bitch up. I'm playing dirty. Let's go.
He was raging.
But hadn't she already like cut one of the tendons in his legs to where he couldn't? She was talking about before she choked him out. He was like hobbling, like couldn't put any weight on his legs because she had slipped past him and cut his legs. Like I don't know if it was his Achilles or what. Obviously it wasn't because he was walking. But so all of that to be said, the fact that it was still even a fight then with Khan, I was kind of annoyed by because it wouldn't have been. Khan is his superior.
He's so tired
already. Has already proven that by his ranking. Used to be the leader of this group, so obviously is stronger than anyone there. I just feel like it should have been like a quick little like, and he shouldn't have even been close.
But yeah, I agree. It did feel like I was like, how are you still going? But at the same time, that's kind of how I pictured him, where I was just like, nah, he can't let a woman win over him. Like, it's really this,
rage.
I must put her down. Like, really, he could not let that go.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
I'm so glad that went the way that it went. And it was very touching. And then the fact that he, like, bows before her, has her mark him, and that everyone there is like, oh my god, this is actually happening. I loved her little friend.
Yeah.
That was interpreting for her. She was great. Love that she was mad that he was a dirty snake. Yeah, that part was very sweet. I liked that a lot. Because I can just picture that being significant in the future when she hopefully eventually accepts him and their relationship blossoms again, as we hope that it will. That this tribe will still be significant and she will be kind of revered by them still, but them together as like a unit.
I can't wait to find out what happens.
Do you guys feel like it was... I know, honestly. Do you feel like it was significant that she kind of like spoke to that fallen moon dragon? Orba? When
she was paying her respect to it?
Do you think that everyone gets that same feeling of, like, she felt like she had a feeling, basically, and almost, it wasn't like they were quite talking to her, but she definitely felt the presence and knew what its intentions and wants were, and that's why she, like, gave it respect. Do you think everyone feels that when they go
I think that has to do with where it comes from. I do not think everyone feels that way. I think that is more specific to her personally. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that there's certain people that can speak to Orva, because I think that's what the name of that fallen moon. Anyways, it's just like when like Christianity, when people speak in tongues, or is it Christianity or one of those religions that do that, and then they feel the spirit, like they're speaking to somebody. No one understands what they're really saying, but don't they have like that spiritual lady that anytime she says what a prophecy is, that it becomes true? So maybe
it's just
that
like more
person can also
spiritually
speak
enlightened.
to,
do you think they're speaking to the moons or to the gods, though?
Well, I thought it was that was like it was like a sculpture or like a thing of Orva.
No, it was actually Orva inside of her broken because she's so small, like she's an adolescent dragon. But it was actually her fallen moon that they had built a shrine around. But then Soul, which is the witchy lady or whatever, I think she was speaking to the gods.
Oh.
I think.
Oh. You're talking about like Salus and Claude and them, like the 5 or the 4?
Or
those gods?
Unless they have different gods, but yeah.
It's a possibility.
Anyway, Khan got her, and yay! I took off on Raygun.
I know, and
they're binded. Their offspring is
really getting that. I know. I did love the prophecy of that. I was like, okay, we love a little foreshadow. They gotta have kids. Okay, I'm here for it.
Oh,
gonna have
she was so hard against that, though. She was like, I will never, ever, 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 ever.
Yeah, but I really think that stemmed from who she was attached to. Like, I think it was, I mean, not that she may not want kids or whatever, but I think it was really Hawk that she was like, you will not be having sex with me. We will not be having babies. F you, F all of this. I want nothing to do with any of this. I want to leave. I still want to go murder somebody else. Like, I don't got time to procreate with you, sir. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's necessarily like,
not even that.
Her being.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got a strong like this womb will never have babies, but I just thought that it was just
I got that
being
too.
Raeve because she believes that everyone close to her will die. So she's like, hell no, I'm not.
Well, and
kids.
she doesn't got time for kids because
no, I got that impression too that she wouldn't want to have kids.
Yeah, but
she's an assassin.
But when she uncovers who she really is and like falls in love with this man, maybe we'll.
Yeah, I think babies will happen. Yeah, I think they will for sure. But
many babies. Who knows?
I love it. So
babies.
I feel like that's kind of where we ended things. So. I'm very excited to see what happens. I love where we've kind of ended up. There's still, I mean, so much to unfold here. Holy cow. I'm desperately, desperately hoping we do not end on a massive cliffhanger or I might cry. There can be a little one. I get it. We gotta, but don't do me dirty. I've been done dirty too many times. Wrap it up somewhat, a little bit. Like, answer some of my things that I'm desperately in need of.
I know.
I really want her to remember herself so bad. Like, that's a big one for me. I definitely am intrigued to see how their relationship grows. Winnie, not ending to that, but like, some sort of resolve to their physicality at some point. Or are they going to drag it out?
We don't understand. What?
Bitch, I want them to have sex. I want his.
Is he going to share his essence with her?
Too much. I needed to end the way it was supposed to end. I'm dead. Okay. Or are they going to drag it out to the next book? Because, we've done ACOTAR. They really freaking like to drag things out on you.
More like a Zodiac Academy.
I really need it to not be that dragged out. That'll hurt my soul.
Those are some
No. 100%. Who do you think Vea was to Raeve / LUN? Because she had a very, very big reaction to seeing her. And she wanted to F her brother up immediately, and he knew that going into it. So I thought that was very interesting. She got protected as hell immediately.
But I was going to say, I think they were close, and then when she left, that really hurt her to some degree or something like that. Like, there's a reason there's such a strong reaction, I think. I mean, also, we all thought she was dead, so like, there's a strong reaction for that alone. But yeah, just the fact she almost seemed like, why'd you do that? Why
is she in this shit?
What did you do?
Well, but she was like mad at him on her behalf, is how I interpreted it. So,
that's how I got it too.
Like,
what the fuck did you do?
I felt like that was leading to like how he betrayed her.
No, I did. I saw some of that too, for sure. Like, I think they were best friends, or he ended up there. Like they kind of grew up together, and I don't know. I picture them being very close.
Yeah,
excited to see that also.
Yeah,
yes, to see if they'll kind of still be best friends. Like they'll quickly.
Yeah, because she seems sassy.
And I think they will just like. I think they'll complement each other well, and I'm excited to see that relationship.
Like, calls to like you guys.
Oh, we've been in the mass universe for too long. We can't let it go.
Yeah, and she's diving in a throne of glass, so
Oh my
like
God,
it's
that's
just gonna get
wild
even
to me.
more for you.
I know.
That
I
big,
will
big
get my
world.
fill of Vogs.
The world. You're gonna get your fill.
I don't know if I'm going to be in
I
that
know.
deep with you.
Reread it.
You'll understand a little bit more. You'll understand a
I
little
know,
bit
but-
more why I was like,
Maybe.
All right.
We'll find out.
All right,
instead.
guys, that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed reading the first half of When the Moon Hatch as much as we did. We will also be releasing the second half of this podcast 2 weeks from today on March 29th. Also, if you like what you hear, then please share it with your friends. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of the major streaming platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, book besties.